10 things that most people ignore about the Harry Potter books. Harry Potter is, by a big stretch, one of the most beloved book series of all time. The entire franchise has tons of fans all across the world of different ages. But the books are definitely not perfect, and there are some issues in the magical world. So, in today's video, we're going to be going over 10 things most people ignore about the Harry Potter books. If you enjoy, please leave a like and consider subscribing with the notifications on, because if you do, you could get a shout out. But let's go ahead and get into it, shall we? Number 1. The general attitude towards Muggles throughout all of the Harry Potter books isn't particularly great. One of the central conflicts in the book is between people like Voldemort and how they view Muggles and people like Harry. While we are all aware that Death Eaters have extreme views on Muggles, the entire magical community is pretty prejudiced towards them overall. I mean, even wizards and witches that are classified as being good, like Hagrid for example, and even the Weasleys at times make remarks about Muggles. It doesn't seem right. As well as this, the idea that magical people are far more superior than non-magical ones is a very deeply ingrained idea in the wizarding world. Honestly, I think the Muggles need a little bit more love.
Filthy little mudblood.
Number 2. The whole entire sorting out system is pretty strange if you think about it. The fact that you put a hat on your head and it decides what house you should be in, within itself is weird. But there are some other things that suggest that this is even stranger than we previously thought. It's said that the sorting hat places students into one of 4 categories when they are 11 years old based on their personality. What 11-year-old really knows themselves? Surely they're still figuring out who they are themselves, so why is it fair for a hat to decide who they are? The most messed up thing is when it comes to the Slytherin house, though. The entire thought behind the Slytherin house is that everybody inside of it is somewhat evil, and if that really is the case, then maybe any child sorted into that house shouldn't be allowed inside of Hogwarts at all. Really, take that into account. If you're sorted into Slytherin, it means that you have some sort of evil in you, right? So why would the Hogwarts headmaster allow evil children to stay at the school? I don't know. Overall, it's just a weird system that is pretty messed up if you think about it.
Gryffindor!
Number 3. Love potions in the wizarding world are one of the most disgusting that a wizard or witch can make. Saying that though, some people do back them, but there are others that really just despise the potions. You can use them for a good purpose, but you can also use them for bad as well, and that's where the hatred comes from. You can use a love potion to make anybody fall in love with you, and this could be used in a bad way because you could use it to manipulate anybody at any time. In the books, love potions aren't addressed as to how they violate consent, but they do. And the fact that love potions don't seem to be illegal in the wizarding world is highly suspect, and it makes zero sense. Take for example, Voldemort. If he really wanted to, he could have made a love potion easily and given it to literally anybody and used it to manipulate them into getting what he wanted. I guess we're just very lucky that he didn't do that. Number 4. The lack of teachers' awareness at Hogwarts is ridiculous. There is so much that goes on within the walls of Hogwarts, and very little is known about it because the teachers don't really seem to pay attention. There are some really wild things that go on if you think about it, and the students are regularly put into danger by magical creatures and other things. So why is it that the teachers don't really seem to pay much attention? To be fair, the teachers are sometimes downright abusive towards the students as well, especially Snape.
We'll both have partners. Agreed? Agreed.
Number 5. Does anybody not think that it's maybe a little bit messed up that Dumbledore left Harry on a doorstep in the middle of the night? I personally think that it's really messed up, and it's one thing that could have been done in such a better way. I do understand though. He didn't just knock on the Dursleys' door and hand Harry over to them because 1, they probably would have never accepted taking him, and 2, they would have been wondering why Dumbledore looked like a wizard. But still, come on. Was the only other alternative to leave a defenseless baby on a doorstep?
Good luck, Harry Potter.
Number 6. The lack of basic education for wizards is pretty absurd when you really think about it. The wizarding community seems to look down on Muggles, but in many ways, wizards live a much more backwards life than muggles do. While muggle-born witches and wizards get basic education at normal schools in the muggle world, nothing like this is heard of for the magical kids. Do they not get any education before they turn 11 and go to Hogwarts? It doesn't make any sense. I don't care how magical you are, you can't just know everything. Basic math and English would be a good start, but no. They turn up to Hogwarts having no basic knowledge from what we know, and that is strange. Number 7. The treatment of magical creatures, especially house elves, in the wizarding world is outrageous, and something that I cannot condone. House elves are just as important and as intelligent as humans, yet they are treated as second-class citizens. There were numerous times when Dobby helped Harry, and to be fair, Harry isn't a person that looks down on the elves, but overall they are all looked down upon by most people. Most magical people have no problem with the fact that these intelligent creatures are being used as slaves. Come on, could you not just keep them by your side as loyal friends? Why do you have to use them as slaves?
Dobby is free.
Number 8. When it comes to the justice system in the wizarding world, there doesn't seem to be a lot of balance. There are many people that have done things that are worse than others, yet anybody who commits a crime gets sent to Azkaban, that is guarded by Dementors, so it's an extremely cruel situation to be in. Surely for the people that commit less severe crimes, there should be a punishment that is, well, less severe, but there isn't. And it makes no sense. It's something that I just can't wrap my mind around. Number 9. The abuse that Harry got from the Dursleys is just something that a lot of people really didn't like. They abused him in multiple different ways, with an example being, shoving him under the stairs inside of a cupboard. If we're being honest, nobody really seems that concerned with all the emotional and verbal abuse that he got from the Dursleys. No one really ever sits down with him and has a conversation about it, or just asks if he's okay. He went through years of torture from these people, so surely someone should have brought it up in a conversation with him. But nobody was particularly disturbed by what had happened to him, and they just let him get on with everything.
Wake up, cousin! We're going to the zoo!
Number 10. Similar to the fact that there doesn't seem to be any public elementary schools for magical children, there also doesn't seem to be any mental health services or awareness at all in the wizarding community. It's very clear that Sirius Black has some sort of mental trauma after being trapped in Azkaban for all these years when he did nothing wrong. But a little bit like with Harry's situation, nobody asked him if he was okay, and he never got any access to mental health services. In many ways, the community could take a lot of ideas and technology from the Muggles if they wanted to make their world a better one. But the Muggles are looked down upon, like I said, with the very first point on today's list.
And besides, you're meant to be here. But you're innocent, and you know it.
Anyway, that's all we have time for. 10 things that most people ignore about the Harry Potter books. Please leave a like and consider subscribing with notifications on, but we will see you in the next one.